Good morning. I don't know exactly what to say. I wanted to make a clip. It's almost 2.5 months here at my bunker squat at Picheras Beach in southern Albania. One of the things that I really like that's happened here with me living in a nature environment, especially without a lot of people, because social energy affects this too, but I've been waking up a lot earlier than normal and just waking up naturally, usually between 6 and 7 a.m., sometimes even earlier. And then I'm tired pretty soon after the sun's going down. I wake up I go to sleep at 8 o'clock, seems like a late bedtime. The past few nights I did stay up almost until midnight reading some nice stuff. I was reading, as I mentioned before, Walden by Henry David Thoreau. Also started to read some of the writings of Mikhail Bakunin, also from the mid-19th century, really good anarchist theorist. He was a contemporary of Marx, and they had a lot of discourse. And I think at least they had some mutual support, but really different ideologies, because Marx wanted to give the state all of the power, and Bakunin wanted to dissolve the state completely and let free humans voluntarily associate and govern themselves. I really like a lot of what Bakunin says. He really says it good. I mean, his critique of capitalism is amazing. He talks about how the capitalist class, or the kind of there's a group of individuals who benefit a lot from exploitation of labor, and they do that through control of the money supply and to keep the large body of available workers very hungry, in a figurative and literal sense, basically to only provide them with enough to survive, but not enough to become comfortable and wealthy themselves. And this really resounds a lot with what I think about what is wealth. Often wealth is portrayed. What is wealth? Wealth is often portrayed as having a lot of money or a lot of property. Another definition of wealth that I heard and I really liked was that wealth is how long you can live without working, without employment. And in that sense, having been unemployed, let's call it non-employed. I'm not unemployed. I don't register as unemployed. I don't think about it like I'm looking for a job, I need one. I'm non-employed. I'm a non-employee. This means that I don't seek employment. And for almost 7 years I've been a non-employee, and I've survived. So that means that I've lived for 7 years without being employed, and in that definition I could be more wealthy than Elon Musk. But yeah, Bakunin, when he talks about employment, it's really about using inequality to have people perform the work that you don't want to do yourself, and that they don't even want to do. And how do you get someone to do something that they don't want to do? Well, you offer them something that they don't have. But if that something that they don't have isn't that important to them, why would they do it? So they need to be in a state of desperation so they can be exploited. And to keep poverty at a lower threshold means more people are hungry. And when he talks about God and the state, I really resonate too. I mean, he's an atheist, and I don't really consider myself an atheist, so to speak. But in some sense, I could be considered an atheist because I don't believe that there's some God judging us and overlording us like a king in heaven who is dissatisfied that we don't follow the words that some men wrote down. This jealous God. I mean, he really describes it the way that I see it too. This Abrahamic, super jealous God. He needs to be called by this specific name only, and if you don't, you should be killed. You know, all these things. It's like, it's very toxic. It's kind of gaslighting, abusive parent, abusive boyfriend kind of vibes. Like super jealous and super unforgiving. And if we just think about it, if we are imagining the most powerful being in the universe, wouldn't that most powerful being also be the most mature and understanding and loving and capable being? Because if I'm with the child and the child calls me some other name, I know they're addressing me. I'm not gonna smack them because they use a different name. But the God that does these kind of things is kind of like coming from culture where there are people who want to be kings, and they need a big king up to convince the people that they're valid. So they invented this really immature, unjust, cruel, artificially spooky spy being to watch us and judge us, so that we start to judge ourselves. And the God that I can conceive is much more powerful than that, and much more forgiving, and much less needing men to tell me what she says. So that means that I can imagine a more omnipotent, more powerful, more magnificent being than the God that they've created is less. And this God is in a way a real blasphemy, because the true creator is everywhere, is inside of us, is not separate from us, is in the world, is not outside the world, is not making these games for us to play. Well, we are inventing games, and we are playing. And in that sense, we play with Creator because we play with ourselves and we play with each other. And the Creator that I feel deeply to exist is the Creator that is personal and inside of each of us and doesn't judge us any more than we judge ourselves. And is very forgiving and giving multiple opportunities to learn and to grow and to share with one another our truth. And the greatest scriptures are the ones that unfold before our eyes and our reality. Why would the most magnificent force of all creation, why would that being use an old book to tell us what to do? Like, I mean, old books are very cool. I'm reading the DOGE also. I love old books. But that would be like having a telephone manual from Bell Telephone from the 1940s, like how to use a telephone, and then this book, give it to someone to use an iPhone. That doesn't make sense. The iPhone is intelligently designed that you can just turn it on and start to use it, and it has the instructions built inside. So if Apple Computer or Google, Android, any of these companies can build a product like this, like a smartphone computer that you can just turn on and begin to use intuitively, and then if you want you can research inside that device to find out more things that it can do. Well, if the creator of the universe didn't do that, they are less creative than Apple Computer, which I think that's not the case. I think the most powerful being was very wise, is very wise, because it's inside of us all. We are all a part of it. We are appendages of this being. This like if we want to amalgamate and the entire cosmos as one personality, which is kind of difficult, but these external instructions maybe can be useful, but they're not necessary. The instructions are inside, and this is what Lao Tzu talks about in the Tao also, because it's like, just be. Everything's happening around us. We're right in the middle of a beautiful story. So what's the point to put all these contradicting narratives? These kind of religions are created to possibly, I mean, in my opinion, I feel a lot that these systems of thought are to create a slave mentality in the beings, to make us work counter to what the Creator wants us to do. Like don't listen inside, don't listen inside, don't listen inside. Just look at the book. Look at the book. Listen to me. I will tell you what the greatest being says. The greatest being is very unable to speak to you directly, so you must listen to me, the priest. And Bakunin also puts it to the next level, like, you must listen to me, I represent the state. Because what is the state but the God of the 20th century? Or even the 19th century? This 19th century being, this artificial legal being, suddenly, well, everyone has to go to school now because you need to be taught about this imaginary being that doesn't really exist, but will make you think it exists by putting a bunch of flags of certain color and shape and having a song that's very emotional and make you do hold your hand over your heart and say some oath every morning as a child. And we will make sure that you believe this imaginary being exists. And we have people with guns who believe it exists, and if you don't listen to us, we will, with our religious fury, force you. That's how it appears. Bakunin really thinks that the revolution is a secret society that is not organized by anyone but everyone. And this secret brotherhood, it's not something you can put an association with. Like Antifa is not anarchist. Antifa is also acting with this kind of authoritarian design. So they're in a way subverting the principles of anarchism, which is from the bottom, from rising up from the collective. The collective is the peasantry, the not just the proletariat, but the peasants, the villagers who already are independent, and they only see government action usually as a way of encroaching on their freedom. And Bakunin doesn't think that we should just have no rules or laws, especially like natural law, common law. I mean, of course, like in anarchy, stealing from someone is not cool and should be dealt with, or people doing horrible things to one another like murder. But we can work from a different angle than these privileged classes of police and judges, administrators. I mean, administrators are okay too. I mean, there's no problem to have someone overseeing projects and administering them, especially people with experience about those things. but they need to earn that trust not from our collective vote, but from their demonstration of their capabilities, also their demonstration of their detachment from ego to their function. Yeah, it's been some good times. No, my friend is here. She's Albanian Swiss. Albanian, but living in Switzerland a lot of her life. And we're like kind of cool neighbors. Not too close, not too far. You can just visit. Yeah. I think that's all I'm going to say for now. But thanks for the visit. We'll chat more later.